Hi guys, good morning. Another lesson today. So yesterday we talked about the key components to our research studies. So today we're gonna proceed to. I'm gonna teach you one of the keywords that is important that you need to know, which is about variables. Okay, but before I go into the main topic today, I just want to go through the Q&A from yesterday. These are the question that I got from the exit ticket, so I just want to answer this just to clear it out first. Okay, first question about the data. I don't hear any data said in the video. Is it correct that I answer participants and how they recruited? Okay, the answer for that is actually quantitative and qualitative. I did talk about types of data. Psychologists can collect two types of data, which are quantitative data and qualitative data. Quantitative data is to do with numbers. Qualitative data are data collected in terms of words. Okay. All right. Next one. Data must be valid in everything to make proof of the study. Yes. If the data is not valid, then artinya your study is not useful. People will not want to read your study. Okay. So the data must be valid for the study to be useful. Okay. Um, Next one. Do all of this link with maths? Mean, median, mode? Yes. It's actually statistics because psychologists were dealing with data, and data often come in terms of numbers. Okay, so with that, we have to calculate, we have to analyze it statistically. So hence that's why karang towards the end of the topic on research method, we will be studying a section about data analysis where we will study how to calculate mean, median, mode, standard deviation, range. We also will be studying graphs. Okay? But then that one, batah lagi lah, I think in the next 2 weeks. Alright, now next one, do we have to memorize all the 10 components for the A-level exam? You don't have to memorize those 10 because those are just basic information, but it will link to the core study itself. So the core study ito yung important is actually important. Yang the 10 component that I just go through ito is just basic information as a starter saja. Okay? And then I'm still confused at the keyword. It's fine. It will become clear once I go through all the keywords ito. Yang pentingnya, I just want you to know that there will be a lot of keywords to learn throughout the subject, okay? But we'll go through one by one. Will we do our experiment physically just like Piliaven? Yes, by the end of the year. I'm not sure about this year though because of COVID, but in the previous year, your seniors would do it physically. They would conduct the study itself. Yeah. How do we prove the theories are true? How do we prove the theories are true is by collecting data. So you have theories. All you need to do next is conduct the experiment, collect data, and then show the people, okay, these are the data. It proved that the theories are true. Okay? So that's the only way to prove the theories are true, by collecting the data. Okay? When conducting an experiment through observation, do we psychologists need to ask for participant consent first? I'm asking this because the natural action of the participant may change due to them knowing that they are being observed at that moment. Okay. When using observation, that is up to the psychologist whether they want to ask for consent or not. Okay. I know the ethical guideline says that mesti ada consent from the participant, but there are times where you have to break the consent, where you have to break the ethical guideline in order to get a valid result. Okay, so for example kan, kalau you want to observe this person, if you don't tell them you are observing, you will get a natural behavior. But if you tell them like, okay, macam, today I'm gonna observe you, obviously they will change their behavior, right? And then in the end, your data will not be valid. So that's why kalau observation, a lot of the psychologists actually did not ask for consent because they want to gather a natural behavior. Okay, but then again, this one I will cover when I go through observation. Okay, but good question here. All right, now, Miss, it's about ethical guideline. What if a researcher was conducted by two psychologists? One of them did not follow the ethical guideline. Does that mean the other partner or psychologist would have been given an appropriate punishment when he or she did not follow the guideline? Okay, ethical guidelines are important to follow, but a lot of researchers tend to break at least one or two cuma tu. It's because sometimes we have to sacrifice this guideline in order to get natural behavior. Like I said previously, yang pasal observation tadi lah, the previous question kan. And they will not get punished. If you break ethical guideline, you will not be punished, okay? But you need to justify kenapa you have to break the ethical guideline. So most of the time, psychologists break the ethical guideline in order to get a valid result, okay? So that's fine. People would understand kenapa you break the ethical guideline. So they're not punished, okay? They will not be punished if they do not follow ethical guideline, as long as they are able to justify why they break it, okay? Alright, what is basically their jargon? Okay, the jargon banyak, and one of it you will learn today, which is variable, independent variable, and dependent variable. But there's still a lot more to learn, okay? A lot of jargon. Okay, last question. Is it okay if I use keywords in my essay on exam, or do I have to write full names? I'm not really sure about this question. Is it okay if I use keywords? You should be using keywords in your exam. Full name. If you meant about the full name of the researcher, you don't have to write the full name. Just the first person saja, the first person punya nama. Okay? But yeah, I will elaborate on that lagi nanti when we are practicing on essay writing. Okay? Alright, so that was basically all the question that I received. The others are okay. They say they don't have question. Okay, so please use the question section effectively. They're there for you to ask question. Just anything that you are curious about, just ask question and I will try to answer it. Okay, so I think it's it's good to share this question because there might be other students that indah berani tanya but have the same curiosity, so you might be helping your friends here. So to those who give me this question, thank you again for this question. I hope to see more question from a lot of you. Okay. Okay, now moving on to the main topic of today. So one of the keywords that you will have to know is variables. Okay, the term variable, it's an element, it's something, it's a feature or a factor that is liable to vary or change. So this is, it's like, it's not an object, it's something that you wanted to study. Okay, but if you I rather you use the definition that I give here lah. It's an element or it's a factor that is subjected to changes. Okay, now there are two types of variable. We have independent variable and dependent variable. Sometimes we short form it jadi IV for independent variable and DV for dependent variable. Okay, these two are different. IV, independent variable, is basically variables that can be manipulated by the researcher. So it means that it's the thing, the feature or the factor or the element that can be controlled by the researcher. Dependent variable is the results of it. Okay, now I'm gonna give example in the next slide. Okay, so here is an example that I want to use to elaborate on IVs and DVs. Okay, so there's a study here. This study is investigating the effects of regular exercising to a memory recall. So there are two variables here, two factors that are subjected to changes. First one is about exercising. Second one is about memory recall. So in the study, participants will be asked to exercise. Okay? And then they want to see if exercising could affect your memory or not. Okay? So if you see there, the second bullet point, the research specified the hours of exercising per day. So artinya they manipulated the hours. So for example, macam okay, there's 5 participant, right? So participant 1 kena suruh exercise 1 hour, participant 2 2 hours, and then participant 3 3 hours, 4 4 hours, 5 5 hours. So they manipulated, they controlled the hours of exercising per day per participant. Okay, and then after every exercise, so after every session, participants were asked to complete a memory test. Okay, so you just imagine the situation of the studies in it. So they exercise, lepas exercise, kena suruh buat memory test. Okay, so in this case, we need to find what is the IV and what is the DV. So IV tadi yang I said, IV is the variables yang the researcher manipulated. So in this case, apa yang dorang manipulate or apa yang dorang control? Which variables do they control? So the answer is the hours of exercising. They control the hour. They try to manipulate the hours of exercising. So like I said tadi, participant 1 sejam, participant 2 2 hours. Okay, so that is the variables yang dorang control or they manipulated. And then DV is the results, right? So based on this exercising, what is the outcome that they want to see? The outcome is they want to see the memory test. So hence that's why memory test atau the memory recall or memory test would be the DV. Okay, so the outcome that they want to see is the recall score, the memory recall score. So IV is the hours of exercising because that is the variables yang dorang manipulated in the study. DV is their memory recall score, which is the outcome. Okay, so I will give another example in the next slide after this. Okay. Okay, now this one would be your classwork after this. So I'll go through one of it and then I'll let you do 3 of it on your own. Okay, so I want to go through question number 3. Okay, so number 3, does drinking coffee while revising improve exam results? So the task here is identify the IVs and DVs in the following question. So number 3, the study is about drinking coffee. Drinking coffee while revising. Would that improve exam results ataupun tidak? Okay, so if you see here, if you go back to the definition, IV is what the researcher manipulated. So in this case, what is the variable yang kena manipulate here? Is it about coffee or is it about exam results? So I want you to think about it first. Okay, so you know that I think paling sanang is to find the DV kali first. The DV is the results, right? So the outcome here, the data, if you see there, improve exam results. So obviously, the DV, the results that they are looking for, it's to do with the exam results. So in this case, the DV is the exam results. So what is the IV? Apa yang dorang manipulate? So here, they manipulated the coffee. Okay, for example, half of the participant kena bagi coffee, half of the participant will not be drinking coffee. Okay, so I would manipulate the coffee atau Ada yang minum coffee, ada yang tidak minum coffee. So hence that's why in this case, IV is drinking coffee or not drinking coffee. The DV is the exam results. Okay, so go ahead, try the rest of the question 1, 2, and 4. Write it up on your classwork book. We will discuss on this. Once you're done, 20 minutes before the end of the lesson, I wanted to go through the answer together. Okay, so go ahead, try it first. If you're not sure, you can just text me up. Okay, all right. So that's it for the slides today. Complete this classwork 20 minutes before the end of the lesson. Go to WhatsApp. I will contact you there to discuss the answer. Okay, all right.